Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about My Year of Dicks. Probably most people found out about this when it was nominated for Best Animated Short, and Riz Ahmed had to say My Year of Dicks, and everybody laughed. So I was curious to see this, and it's a really interesting sort of least surreal of the three shorts I've seen in this category, but also, I think the most sort of relatable and probably the most easily accessible of the films. This was written by Pamela Ribon, I believe. It's based on a comedic memoir that she wrote called Note to Boys and Other Things I Shouldn't Share in Public. I like that the book has a more respectable title than this short. That's pretty funny. Okay, and it is actually directed by Sarah Gunderster. I'm sorry, Sarah. I should absolutely, in all seriousness, know how to say your name better. Sorry about that. This is her name down here. I think what is cool about this is it's basically, this film takes place in 1991, and Pam wants to lose her virginity. And it's basically 5 episodic segments. It starts off with a video of her, and the video is time-stamped as 1991. I'm going to assume that is actual video for 1991. I don't know. But then you cut to her in kind of a, I would say, I don't think this film is rotoscoped, but it sort of is that style. I would say it's either looks like the Richard Linklater thing or the Kanye West Heartless video that was referencing Ralph Bakshi, kind of like that sort of rotoscopy kind of style. Sorry to bring up Kanye, but where the faces feel like sort of moving, like the eyes are kind of floating in a sense or something, or at least that's what I sort of got from it. That's sort of, I guess, the style. It has this kind of surreal going back in time view of it that I also think was in Bakshi's work as well. What I think really works about this is, I think, that kind of animation and the writing. I definitely reminded of being in late high school and trying to get laid. I wasn't a failure, but I was not as successful as her sometimes. So, sorry, gross. It definitely took me back to that time. And I think both the animation works in kind of remembering that time period of your life, but also the writing in this, she adapted her own book, I guess, I'm assuming. It reminded of like the weird vampire guy, like making out with a weird person at the movies, like going to a party and making out with a random person and finding out they're absolutely horrible. Okay, we've all been there. Going to a party when you're a teenager and feeling like, uh-oh, am I going to get in trouble for being here and stuff like that. And that feeling of dread and getting really horrible sex talk from your parents. Later, you're like, why didn't you just not tell me that? I don't understand. All of those things together, I think, make this film really, I think, inviting and interesting and kind of a great kind of coming of age tale. My Year of Dicks is, I think, really good at that and reminding you of a time where your relationship sort of goals are getting laid for the first time, or kissing someone or something like that. And I'm not saying those are trivial or anything. It means a lot to you, and it means a lot to this character, or Pam herself. It does feel like the whole world, and the whole world does feel like it's opening up to you, and it's scary at the same time, and you're not sure what exactly it's going to bring, and you're not sure who's exactly going to take you on there, and you're almost desperate for anyone to, and hopefully you don't have anyone do that in retrospect. But I did really actually like this film and its nostalgic kind of coming of age view. I think if you like, certainly like particularly like a film like Lady Bird, or any kind of like coming of age type of movie like Boyhood, something like that, I wouldn't necessarily see these are exact copies. But I think if you're into that and the Linklater stuff, you probably would actually really like this. I think it just feels like you're on that kind of episodic kind of way of life. And especially at that time where I feel like when you first get a car and you're driving around and your town's kind of open up to you, you meet all these kind of strange characters that you will probably never interact with for the rest of your life, or go on journeys like that. But at the time, you're far more open to that and the kind of problems and weirdness the world presents you. And I think I also like that this is animated, because the other films I've seen are surreal and weird, and there's open up these whole worlds and like possibilities of animation. Like, yeah, you know, I can talk about that all day. It's fine. But like animation should also do like this. Like this, I like this, someone looking back and the past is animated and it feels like this weird world that you sort of used to know and you know you existed in and you were there. And it feels like strange that like, oh, that movie was on the marquee and that was you. And I felt that through the animation, that the kind of nostalgic view was the animation in itself. And you don't need to have, you know, an actress and an actor doing those things. That's certainly what I got from it. So I think My Year of Dicks is a nice kind of look back at a time that I shouldn't probably share that sort of stuff in public, and I wouldn't want to, and I'd be beat red and want to hide my face forever. So I totally get why she called the book that. But it's also a Year of Dicks, and it's not just because of the getting laid stuff. Together, it makes a complete kind of necessary story of someone's life, and kind of how ultimately she did or doesn't, you have to see the movie, or the short, lose her virginity, and how kind of the passing through that moment or era or year of your life and all the kind of journeys you have throughout it. It might not altogether make sense why someone would do all these things, and I think at that time I don't think any of that made sense for me either, and if you haven't experienced it, it probably didn't for you, and if you think it did, you're lying to yourself. This is kind of a reality reflection of a time in someone's life that they're open to kind of the adventure of life and going into it and hoping they can get those amazing experiences out of it. And it feels kind of wondrous in that way. And I think the animation that Sarah I can't say your name, opened up within this film, which I think My Year of Dicks kind of captured a time that, yeah, I don't really want to go back to or even think about for my own embarrassment, but is a time you live through and move on from, and kind of look back on fondly, even if, you know, for your own embarrassment, probably just briefly. So if you've seen My Year of Dicks and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.